Whoever is under 40 and is depressed because he hasn't found his passion yet, think again.
If when you were 19 years old, someone would have told you that you would end up doing this, what would you have said?
I've laughed at him. Even at 35, I would have said, no way. For me, art was, I was Excel spreadsheet at University of Chicago. When you go to these trips, on these wildlife trips, you realize that there is a whole world out there that we don't even come close to knowing when we're stuck in an office.
Michel, welcome to the Everything You Are podcast. How do you feel?
Great, amazing. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming here. I'm also very happy that you're here. And I have a lot of questions. I find not only your work very inspiring, but also your way of life and the life path that you choose to follow. So you're a wildlife photographer, but you're also a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And so you discovered your passion at the age of 40 and you decided to pursue it while also keeping on doing your business work.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I'm curious to know how you made that happen, just what happened and how it is like for you and what drives you.
Okay, thank you. First, my background has absolutely nothing to do with photography, even less with wildlife photography. I have a finance background. I have an MBA in finance. I run a family business. It's my business with my brothers that works in medical equipment. Really nothing creative about it. It's pure business, finance, numbers. And then at the age of 40, I was going to London because a friend of mine organizes every year a polo tournament in London. I was at the airport. The plane was late. I bought a camera. And this was basically, I don't want to sound too cliche. It was love at first sight. Basically, I spent the whole 4 hours or 5 hours from Beirut to London reading the manual. I'm a bit OCD, so I really, I read the manual. And I took photos at this polo tournament. And this is how I actually started doing photography. And this is when the passion started. I run, as I told you, a medical business that I haven't stopped. I'm still CEO of the company. I haven't stopped. But I'm spending more and more time on trips. Initially, I spent a month traveling. Now I'm probably, away 3 to 4 months.
Okay, so 3 to 4 months away, and then you
8
come
months
back.
here. Yeah.
8 months here and 3 to 4 months per year away. Okay.
3 to 4 months, but not in one trip, in multiple trips. Like in November, I was in Uganda for gorillas. It was an amazing trip. January, I went to India for tigers. I just came back from Finland for wolves that I didn't find. So, but it happens. I'm off to Brazil in June for jaguars, and I'm off to Zimbabwe in August. So all in all, it's about 3 to 4 months, but the rest of the time I'm here. So I am managing, I'm able to manage both.
And do you like what you do in your business?
Yes. I mean, I'm a business person. I have an MBA in finance, so I'm a business person by nature, and I enjoy managing a business. I do enjoy managing a business. It's fun. I mean, managing people, solving their problems. Not only this, I feel I'm making a difference.
Yeah.
Our employees are the employees are amazing. We have an amazing team. I help them. They help me. It's fun. It's actually fun because I think that through my business, I'm giving back to the community. And also my business allows me to do my photography.
Yes.
So I like my business on one hand, and I'm grateful that my business allows me to do my trips without having to rely on anyone, any commission work or any work I don't want to do. Basically, I do what I want to do. I don't have any obligations. I don't have any restrictions.
But it's interesting because you didn't choose only to be a business person or only to be someone like creative and who goes on adventures, but you mixed both of them.
I like both.
You can have both.
I have both sides. I mean, call me whatever you want. I have both sides. I have a creative side. I think I have a creative side, and I have a business side. So you don't need to choose one. I mean, if you have both and if you enjoy doing both, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of enjoying it. If you enjoy doing it, do it.
Yes.
So I enjoy the business and I enjoy the photography. And they feed on each other.
Yes.
If I didn't have the photography and and the team at the office understood it extremely well, that my photography is my therapy. So send Michel 2 weeks to a trip. He's going to come back in a great mood. So so we're all going to be happy. So the photography is helping the business. And the business allow me to do my trips, my photography. Because one thing, all my photography is donated to charity. So whenever I do exhibitions or books,
Okay.
it goes to a certain charity.
And it's nice also because since you don't have to live from it, you can just enjoy it without any...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. I'm extremely lucky. I'm grateful.
And when you're away, do you still work? So are you still online and available for your work or not?
Listen, I'm reachable. There is no place in the world today that's not connected.
Yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately. I mean, depending on how you look at it. So yeah, I'm usually connected an hour a day.
Okay.
Although I could be connected 24 hours a day. And most of the time I tell everyone that, oh, there is bad connection and everything, but I just turn my phone off. So yeah, I managed to be connected, most of my trips.
Okay.
Except the Himalayas, who spent 2 weeks not connected.
Okay.
Which was great, by the way. But
yeah, it must be...
So yeah, but listen, my reasoning is very simple. I mean, I've built, I founded the company about 20 years ago.
Okay.
My reasoning is very simple. If it took me 25 years or 20 years to build a company that cannot survive 3 weeks without me, I did a very bad job. And most of the time, the managers and the employees know their business more than me. It's their job. So,
so you know how to delegate and trust other people.
They're better than me in what they do. So, of course, delegate and, just call me if someone is dying. And even don't, because there's nothing I can do. So basically I managed to connect both.
Okay, I want to go back to the polo tournament story.
Yes.
So your friend invited you to a polo tournament and you decided to take pictures.
I just went, to have fun in London for 3 days, and I bought a camera.
Okay.
So the camera was not initially planned for the tournament.
How did you decide to...
I was bored at the airport. That I just
Okay.
no, really, literally,
Okay.
I'm serious. I was bored at the airport. I said, I'm going to a polo tournament. There's going to be horses. I like horses. So let's buy a camera. So I bought a camera and I started taking photos.
Was it the first time you buy a camera?
Pretty much.
Yes, okay.
At the age of 40 or 39, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you feel? How did that evolve to the moment you decided that, okay, this is what I want to do and this is my passion?
Pretty immediate. As I said, the minute I started taking photos and realized I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Okay.
It was not just enjoying. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It's pretty hard for me to describe this, but the pleasure that hasn't, by the way, diminished since then.
Okay.
It's probably increased. The pleasure of the shutter, the pleasure of actually taking a photo is immense. I mean, at least for me. It's second to none. When I realized how much I love this, I knew that I wanted to do wildlife photography. Why? I've always liked wildlife. I've always loved nature, but I'm someone who's extremely, extremely impatient and extremely goal-driven. So for me, going and spending 2 weeks in nature without an objective was not an option. With photography, I discovered an objective. The objective of every wildlife photographer is to get the most amazing photo that no one has gotten before him or her. So the combination of photography and nature allowed me really to spend time in, to become a wildlife photographer.
And does the pleasure come while waiting for the shot to be taken, while taking it, or while seeing the picture after, or?
It's a combination.
All of them.
It's seeing first of all, waking up at some impossible hour. It's minus 40 outside. It's at 4 in the morning. I'm cursing. So why am I doing this? This is a pleasure. Yeah. And then going and seeing the animal you're looking for. This is another pleasure. Taking the photo, just the shutter, the clicking of the photo is another pleasure. Going back at night to the tent, the lodge, the hotel, whatever you want, and downloading the photos is a pleasure. And then coming back to my office, doing the selection is a pleasure. So it's like different pleasures across the spectrum. But the pleasure itself with the camera of actually clicking and taking the photos is unique. This is for me it's a unique pleasure, and it hasn't diminished. It's still as it's like a pacifier for me, if you really want to use an analogy.
Okay. And before that, did you think you had a passion, or did you think I will never have a passion?
I was a businessman with a finance degree from University of Chicago. For me, my only goal in life was to build a company, then grow it and make it bigger, and then become a businessman and then make more money. And so it was pretty horrendous. I mean, not horrendous. I mean, it was. I mean, it's fine when you're being that motivated about business. Is amazing when you're 35.
Yes.
But I've been doing this for 30 years. It would be pretty sad if I still had the same, obsession and about building a business and growing a business, and that's it. I mean, it's pretty limited. You know, when you go to these trips, on these wildlife trips, and you meet people there, especially the guides, the rangers, the wardens, the people who live with these animals. You realize that there is a whole world out there that we don't even come close to knowing when we're stuck in an office.
And I feel like it's inspiring because a lot of people think that because they haven't found their passion yet, then they don't have a passion or they will never find
I
it.
found
But
at 40.
it's, exactly.
So whoever is under 40 and is depressed because he hasn't found his passion yet, think again. I found it by chance, and I really, nothing disposed me for this. I had no formal training in photography. I had no formal training in art. For me, art was, I was Excel spreadsheet at University of Chicago. I had nothing to do with this.
Yes.
And then I discovered it. And because I'm very, determined, I went to, online training, seminars, trips, met a lot of wildlife photographers who became my mentors, especially one, an English guy who lives in Kenya. And really from this, I learned. Yeah. But to give myself some credit, I acted upon it.
How did you act upon it? What's the first thing that you did?
I went to a safari. In South Africa. This was the first trip I did. And from this trip, I knew I was going to do a book and exhibitions. And I knew when I started taking photos, it was going to develop into something big.
And did you have any obstacles to this, maybe internal from yourself or external?
It could not really. It was challenging. If I really want to think about it, between spending 2 weeks in the Himalayas in a lodge without heater, without running water, without warm water, obviously, looking for a snow leopard I didn't find, and going to the beach for 2 weeks, it's tempting to actually go to the beach. So sometimes you question, why am I doing this? But it usually doesn't last for a very long time.
Okay.
Because it's so no, there wasn't really an obstacle. Not really. No, I knew what I wanted to do. I did it, and no one told me not to. And anyway, even if they had, I wouldn't have listened. So it's just so I did it.
Okay, so you pursued your passion and you did so successfully. So you won.
I have many awards. I didn't win the awards I really want to win yet, but hopefully soon. But I was finalist in many competitions. I placed second, played first, whatever. But I have a few competitions.
And you did exhibitions like in Beirut, Dubai, London, Paris.
Exactly, and I'm doing one in New York in November.
Okay.
For the diabetes fund at AUB.
Okay, interesting. And also I saw your work is published in several magazines, including like National Geographic.
And I have books, and I got published quite a few times in a number of magazines.
And I'm guessing also in your business you are successful since you can like go and leave your business running and live from it. So you did both successfully. So to be able to do that, what character traits do you have that helped you? Trusting
other people, as in delegating. Okay. Because if I was going to be totally OCD and totally, which I am, and totally obsessive about me doing everything by myself, I would not have done this. So you have to trust other people. So trust is extremely important. Second, spend the time to learn. I mean, to be good in photography or to be good in business, it's a lot of effort. So don't cut corners on one or the other. Try to do both as fully as possible. So you don't get to a point where you say, okay, I'm going to stop doing this because as long as I'm doing this, that is not working. So try to be as complete on both, as dedicated on both, so you don't have a regret saying this is impeding the other one.
Okay, and how do you do that?
By working hard.
Okay, but how do you know what to work on?
Photography by practice. It's usually practice. Photography is practice. Business is just to be thorough. But in the photography part, there is an artistic side, definitely. There is an eye, definitely, but also there is technique. You have to practice. It's practicing. I always have a camera with me. Wherever I go, I have a camera with me. So A, trust people to delegate, and B, be good at both, so you don't feel that one is taking the place of the other. And are you good at both? By spending the time on both.
Okay, so discipline.
Discipline, definitely. Discipline and hard work.
How do you stay disciplined?
It's my second nature.
So you were always disciplined.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm lazy, but I'm disciplined. So the discipline side takes over the lazy side.
Okay.
I'm not lazy, but like, I sometimes if I wasn't disciplined, I would probably waste more time.
Okay.
But I'm disciplined.
Do you have any like tips or things that you do that help you stay disciplined?
I work out a lot,
Okay.
which is extremely important because it really is forcing you to do something, and you develop discipline with this. Listen, when I love something, I just work hard on it. So basically, listen, discipline and everything else is just a tool. You need to be passionate about something.
Yeah.
And once you're passionate about something, you will use all the tools at your service to get there. If you're doing something because someone else is doing it, or if you're doing something because someone told you have to do it, you're not gonna, it's bullshit. You're not gonna use the tools. But if you're doing something because you truly love doing it, whether it's photography, painting, music, business, you're gonna do everything in your power to make it succeed. Just find something you're passionate about. So it all goes back to the ultimate goal. Are you passionate about this? And if you're passionate about it, how much efforts are you gonna put to reach your goal? But you need the passion first.
Did you have moments of doubts?
Always.
Yeah.
About everything, not about photography only. But of course, definitely doubts about photography, doubts about the meaning of life, doubt about why are we doing this. I'm someone who doubts a lot, yes.
Okay.
And this helps, by the way.
Okay.
I'm always questioning myself. I'm always doubting. It's annoying. It's exhausting to be constantly questioning yourself and doubting. But it helps because it pushes you to, work harder. But yes, I have doubts constantly.
How when you have moments of doubt, how do you not let that? I feel like these moments can either like bring you into a state where you don't do stuff anymore, or on the opposite, to work harder. So how do you?
So I listen, to be quite honest, sometimes these moments of doubts did bring me to states, for a short term at least, where I just said, what the hell, I'm not going to do anything. But quickly, maybe because I'm motivated, or maybe because of my photography, or maybe because of my friends that are, by the way, because I don't have a family, my friends are like my family, my support system. Just basically, one thing on this is, if you have moments of doubt and moments where you're down, don't hesitate to ask for help. Which I've done on a number of occasions, but on a like few crucial occasions. My friends are what pulled me out of my doubt. Most of the time, it's me. I mean, when the doubts are not like existential doubts or whatever, it's like by waking up the second day, by going to the gym. The gym helps a lot to solve your doubts. By taking a camera and taking photos of cats, or whatever. I mean, it's just by doing what I love, which happened to be photography. Did it make sense or no?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So
I was rambling a bit.
So you put your focus on something else that brings you joy, or that puts you in a better
Absolutely.
state, or you ask for support from
Exactly,
people,
or I go to
which
the gym.
makes a lot of sense, or going to the gym.
Yeah, or just working out in general.
And it's interesting because I feel when someone like hears about your profile and what you do, they wouldn't imagine maybe that you have these moments of doubt, but actually everyone.
We all do.
Yeah.
Whoever tells you has no moments of doubt is a liar. Of course. I mean, or an idiot. Because how can you not doubt? I mean, you're born and you die, and then you've achieved, and whatever you've achieved is totally gone when you're dead. So how can you not doubt? I mean, but anyone intelligent is gonna doubt. And so yeah, of course, with that.
What do you doubt
You don't
about?
doubt?
Yeah, for sure.
The usefulness of the whole thing, of my photography, the usefulness of being here on Earth. I mean, the usefulness. What's the point? And then when I go see friends, I go to the gym, I do what I love, I realize that the point is actually enjoying whatever time you have on Earth. This is the ultimate point as far as I'm concerned. Just enjoying. Because no matter what you do, the next generation, the one after, is not going to remember you. It's arrogant to think that you can change anything. So just enjoy the 180, 70, whatever years you're on Earth. And this is how actually I really, by thinking this way, and by doing things I love, and by relying on close friends, and by doing physical exercise, because it really, just clears the mind. This is how I conquer the doubts. The worst thing is to sit and do nothing.
Yeah.
The worst thing is getting drunk. because the second day you're gonna wake up when you have doubts. The second day you're gonna wake up and feel like the doubts have doubled. So just by doing something healthy or something you love. So, and it works. So far, it has worked.
And when you're there, like in these places that are very different from the way we live, like here in the city, what's your state of mind? Are you like thinking about things or reflecting or feeling or just in the present moment?
So good question. The first couple of days, I'm usually very much, I'm not going to say stressed out, but the first couple of days, I'm usually, I'm thinking about the business, the work, my day-to-day life. And then after day two, the only words I have is light. What the animal will do in good light. Is he gonna hunt? Is he gonna? Basically, I live based on light and rain and snow and the photo. Basically, the photo becomes the dominant element in the trip.
Okay.
Very quickly. It's not even 2 days, probably the second day. It's a very funny question because a friend of mine, I was in India in January for tigers, and tigers are probably the most aggressive of the cats, the most territorial of the cats, and the most dangerous of all the big cats. So a friend of mine was asking me, when you see a tiger, aren't you afraid? And my answer, yes, I was very afraid to miss the photo. This is seriously, I have the fear I have on these trips is that something amazing will happen in front of me, and then somehow I will miss the photo. Because this will be for me devastating. So this is how the mentality switches completely when I'm on these trips.
Okay.
It becomes all about the photo.
So you're only focused on getting the photo that
Absolutely.
you want to take.
Absolutely.
Okay. And when you're spending so much time observing animals, like, does observing animals teach you something about humans, or do you make observations or realizations?
I could, yes. Basically, a few things, because this question has been asked a few times before. A few things. First, you realize how amazing they are in terms of the way they interact together. The way people tell you predators, or they're like bloodthirsty, horrible monsters. They're not. They're like nothing close to this. When you see a mother lion with her cub, or when you see even a polar bear with her cub, polar bear being the most, dangerous, terrestrial predator. It's endearing. It's sweet. It's basically, I describe these predators based on my many trips, and this is what I put in my book. 3 things that I find beautiful about them is one of them is akid beauty, strength, but most importantly, innocence. They are innocent. A polar bear is innocent. A tiger is innocent. A lion is innocent. They don't kill out of viciousness. They kill to eat. They kill to protect their territory and their family. So there is this side they're like kids. Basically, they are, a 300-kilo tiger is a kid. He's not gonna be vicious towards you. He doesn't kill for pleasure. They kill for eating. They kill to protect their territory. They kill to protect their babies. So this is number one. So they're beautiful. Number 2, they're important. They're as important as we are. I'm more and more developing this conviction that no species is more important than the other. It's not because we're 8 billion people and that we have a brain that we're more important than a tiger. We're not. We're all have the equal right to live on this planet. And yes, I know no one is perfect. I eat meat. I'm decreasing my meat intake. So no one is perfect. And you should not be perfect, but should realize that every species has the right to live on this earth and to work towards being perfect, eating less meat, polluting less. No one will be able to do everything 100%. But you realize when you see these species that we need to do this. We need to create an environment where they will live in harmony. And that's it.
Why is it so important that we create this environment?
Would you want to live on a planet without animals? I don't.
No, but
Very
I'm
simply.
playing like devil's advocate.
Yeah,
Some
but
people will
I
tell
don't.
you like why.
I mean,
you can just
many animals would not survive without. Insects will not survive without. Bees will not survive without. Yes, you can survive without polar bears. But do I want to be in a planet without polar bears? I don't. Very simply. So the majority of these predators you can live without.
yeah.
Not even true, because they regulate the populations of prey that without them would go out of control. Like without the lions, the wildebeest would be out of control and there won't be enough food for them. So they play a certain role. They're essential. But most importantly for me, I don't want to be on a planet that only has humans. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And, we need, the whole planet is based on equilibrium. We don't know what's going to happen. We have no idea what's going to happen without sharks. I have no idea. Probably what will happen without sharks. There was I think I saw this where they were linking sharks to basically the disappearance of corals, because shark would eat bigger fish. These fish would eat a fish that's supposed to eat the fungus out of the coral. The minute the shark is taken out of the equation, this bigger fish thrives, eats more of the small fish, and there is less cleaning of the corals happening. So I said that everything is linked. I'm not a scientist, so maybe what I said is wrong, but it works something like this way. Yeah. It's all linked.
What can we do? So with your pictures, you're raising awareness and you're showing people the beauty of
that's the goal of my photography.
Animals.
Yeah.
And what is the full circle of how this makes a difference? So how can other people go on to do something actively about it?
Many, many ways. Okay, one example that I've learned throughout all my trips. Conservation doesn't happen at the level of the big corporations, doesn't happen at the level of Leonardo DiCaprio, doesn't happen at the level of the WWF, it doesn't happen at these levels. Conservation happens at the level of the villagers that live around those animals. Once those villagers and those people who live around the animals realize the economic importance of these animals for their livelihood, they will defend them to the death. I know it's horrible, it's economics, but you need to be realistic. Maybe a very simple example. I was in Uganda for gorillas. There are only 1,200 mountain gorillas left in the world. There are 400 in Uganda, 400 in DRC, and 400 in Rwanda. The whole villages around where the gorillas live depend on tourism. You go, you take a porter. I didn't need a porter because I only had one camera with me at the time. I still took a porter. You pay him $20. This porter with $20 is going to be able to make his family live for a week. So create an economic incentive to these people to defend coming from these animals. They will defend them. So conservation happens. So to answer your question, go on safaris.
Yeah.
Make sure that people on these safaris the people around you are going to profit from your presence. So this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is just, whenever you have kids, just talk about it. You don't know how things happen. If you are in the US, write to your congressman, write to your representative, tell him, for example, they should not allow hunting of wolves in Wyoming. In a functioning democracy, you can actually put pressure on the government. In Lebanon, I'm part of an NGO called Animals Lebanon. We've already rescued this year 3 lions, last year 2 tigers. Just by individual actions. There's no other way. And really, it's the more awareness there is, the more creative ways you think about. You can think about.
Okay, so basically, it's to make people care about it and see it as important, whether it is for economic purposes or for personal enjoyment of them or for just
moral grounds. For just the species that has as much right, the same right as you do to live on the planet. I focus on the beauty of the animals. People were telling me, especially other photographers were telling me, but you can't show only the beauty, because if you only show the beauty, people are going to think that everything is all right when everything is not all right. And my answer was, I'm showing the beauty so people know what they need to fight for and what they need to care about. So, yeah.
Do you get frustrated from not seeing any progress, or do you get sad or angry?
I do get sad and angry and frustrated because I question my efforts, mine and any other wildlife photographers. Sometimes it's just why am I even doing this? It's useless because it's not going to lead anywhere. But then I enjoy it so much, and the cause is so important that I keep on doing it. But yes, I get frustrated, obviously, because there's nothing you can do. Yeah, we saved 3 lions, and we saved 2 tigers about 5 years ago. And we saved a chimp, a chimpanzee, and we saved a lot of other animals. But for every animal saved, there are 10 of them that would die in captivity. Because you can't really keep a lion in captivity.
Do you still feel satisfied when you do these kinds of small achievements?
Yeah. I mean, denial. I think it's useful, but it's not because it's so. No, seriously, it's not useless. It's useful for the animal itself because the animal itself, instead of spending a year of captivity in a horrible place, got a life.
Do you sometimes feel disconnected from society when you go on these trips and then you come back? Do you feel disconnected or maybe even like alienated with society or current like modern ways of living?
Okay, it's not with the current modern ways of living. I very often feel alienated from a certain type of society, not necessarily society in general, but the whole, the show-off society, the whole thing where you live for the other people, that I'm alienated by them whether I travel or not. But when I do come back from this trip, I come back very serene, but very quickly I just go back into like daily problems. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a big difference. I mean, between being in a place where you have 100 people every 10 kilometers and a city that's totally crowded, there's a huge difference. You're bound to be impacted by the difference. Donc, yeah, I do.
Did you change a lot since you started going on this as a person?
Definitely.
How?
First of all, I've realized that everything is not business, and everything is not our modern society, and everything is not the cities we live in. There's a huge world out there that's definitely worth protecting. Actually, it's not even worth protecting because we will need protection, not nature. Nature will adapt. Once we have a nuclear catastrophe in the world and humans are no longer here, it would take 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. Nature will adapt. We are we are the species that are gonna go extinct. So yeah, it did change me because I realized the importance of nature. It changed me also because this is mostly it. I didn't become more patient. I've always been impatient. But it made me able to really enjoy nature more. It made me able to realize that I don't just want to be one dimension, which is a business person. And it's possible to have two dimensions. Now, whether I'm good or no, it's not for me to judge, but I know I have those two dimensions. And I enjoy tremendously going from one to the other. It's not as if, people ask me, but aren't you like running away from your work and are you going to stop working and do full-time photography? I will never do this because I enjoy having these two dimensions, and doing this photography made me realize that it was possible to have both lives.
So since you started doing 20 years ago, you started going and caring more about nature and seeing this other aspect of the world and of life, did it and of yourself, for sure. Did it also impact the way you do other things, like maybe not only in your work, but in your relationships with others?
Probably it made me take things less seriously.
Okay.
And more lightly. Because you realize that this is, the whole city and business is a human construct that has nothing to do with the reality of life and nature. We built this. It's just a big scene, a big theater. So it made me take things less seriously, which is a blessing.
Yeah, I can see that because I remember when I was researching more your work and seeing photos that you put on your website, the selection, I thought first I was in a cafe in Beirut, so very noisy, and I was seeing these pictures and I thought, wow, now I'm in this cafe. And then, I don't know, in Antarctica, there's a polar bear trying to catch a fish, and there's a lion in the savannah.
Absolutely, and all these things happen at the same time.
Yeah.
By the way, there are no polar bears in Antarctica. Polar bears are in the Arctic.
In the Arctic.
It's in the north.
Yes.
There's no polar bears south.
Sorry.
So I get what you say. Absolutely. While we're doing this, there's a lion killing a wildebeest.
So it makes you realize first how diverse the world is, and it speaks like curiosity.
I like the way you put it, by the way. I never thought about it this way. It's nice.
Yeah, and also you feel small. My reality is just only one
speck.
Of everything that is. So I can see how you take things less seriously because you're the world goes on no matter what happens in my life and no matter what I think and how I feel.
But that's we can go on a totally different tangent where whatever we do we're meaningless, we're useless, we're individually, even as a human race, we're just, we're not as important as we think we are.
Yeah.
And it's liberating. It's nice to think this way, because you realize that, just enjoy it.
Yeah. How do you give importance in your life? Is it through your mission?
Given my situation, I'm single. I don't have kids, so I don't have issues, neither with wife nor with kid. My business is doing well, so I'm fine from this point of view. So if I didn't have this passion, I might have been bored today. Because it's hard to keep on doing the same thing for 30, 20, whatever years, when you're not doing it for someone. You're only doing it for yourself, it becomes repetitive. So photography and wildlife photography filled the gap, in my case, that other people get filled with family, with kids, with whatever.
How do you feel about not having kids?
I just don't. I mean, it just didn't happen. And, I love my nephews. I was never someone who really was dying to have kids. Although I'm sure some people who have kids regret having kids. And I'm sure a lot of people who don't have kids regret not having kids. I mean, there's always regretting. There's always something to regret. So I try as much as possible not to regret. It doesn't mean I succeed all the time, but just no matter what you do, you could have done something else.
Yeah.
So it's not something I think about.
If when you were 19 years old, someone would have told you that you would have ended up doing this, what would you have said?
I've laughed at him. At 19, I was still, no way. Even at 30, even at 35, I was said, no way. No, I was like, I just graduated from the University of Chicago. I was like, amazing at math, amazing at finance. I was like, top of my class. I was, for me, this was it. And then came this fateful trip in when I was 40, but I actually bought a camera. So yeah, it was very unexpected.
It's crazy how your life actually can end up being something totally different than what you had previously imagined.
And when you also, if you think about what you previously imagined, you realize that it would have been deadly boring today. Not at the time, but today.
Yeah.
Because again, doing the same thing for 50 years is a bit, it's a bit much. So
I agree.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Listen. Yeah, that's it. I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Yes.
But
Me too.
just follow your passion, have fun, but do it well. Do it well. This is the most important thing. Whatever you do whatever you want to do, but do it well.
Okay, thanks a lot.